Hey Tri-Cities, what's up? This is Wes Zion with Roasters Coffee again. This is Roasters Behind the Scene, episode 27. I really wanted to share with you guys the history, the narrative, the story of Roasters, how it started. I think a lot of people always have the question, when you start reaching success, how it actually happened, what it was all about, you know, the struggles, the victories, those type of things. And so this will be a little bit of a narrative, a story on how things started and where they're at today. Roasters Coffee is a hometown, homegrown coffee company here, started in Tri-Cities. It was sort of a desire of mine in 2008 to actually bring something fresh to Tri-Cities. It was April 2009. Those of you that are a bit older, you know that that was sort of the bottom of the recession, you know, the Great Recession, where things were tight. You know, the banks weren't lending. A lot of people were going bankrupt and foreclosing on their homes. So it wasn't really a good time to start business, or it was. The name came in my mind in just one weekend, and my wife and I got together and we said, hey, this is a cool name. I think it's an easy name to remember. So I created a business plan in about a weekend. I actually got this first location, which is in Pasco on 20th Avenue, and I talked with Red Lion and we worked out a plan, and they were willing to give me a shot. When we first opened, it was decent, you know, it was good. It wasn't great though. You know, I was making enough money to barely pay the payroll. So the money that we made the one day, we had enough money then to pay the bills for the next day. And it was like that consistently. It's like almost living paycheck to paycheck for multiple years, the first couple of years. And it was very, very, very hard. It wasn't something that just happened overnight. So after this store opened, I was able to actually secure the lease at the George Washington Way location. If you guys know that store, Richland, Washington. It's right there on the corner of G Way and Bradley, at the entrance of Richland. Now this store, this was like the mothership, but this store really is where things started to shift a little bit, to where I started to actually, you know, build a good brand, you know, and it was definitely hard at first. And so I made it a desire of mine or a goal of mine to learn every single customer's name, to memorize every single person that came in, to memorize their drinks, to learn about their families, to really build this level of connection with the customer. And so Richland was a fantastic store. You know, again, at the beginning though, it didn't make any money. I have to work from open to close because I can't pay payroll. You know, overly stressed out, if you think about stress. Those were the struggles of the early days, and it was difficult. So things were going okay. And then what I tried to do was try to open up a shop in Walla Walla. I found this little drive-through location for, you know, pennies on the dollar. I went over there and I sort of painted it myself, and I readjusted all the equipment that was in there. And so we opened for about 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, I realized, oh my goodness, I just made a really bad decision. All of a sudden, there was nobody in line and there were no customers at all. There's like one every hour. I was like, there is no way this is going to work right now. Within 2 weeks, I closed down the shop. But it was probably one of the best decisions, closing it. And in 2011, I actually began to think about roasting coffee. I sold off that Walla Walla location, actually almost recouped all my money back. Thank God. Now I had a little bit of cash. I actually used that to buy a coffee roaster on Craigslist. Once I started roasting coffee, that's when things began to shift a little bit more, because I really got into the product. I really got into the idea of taking roasters to where I knew it could go. So then I was lucky enough, again, a customer brought to my attention in 2011, hey, there's this coffee shop on Columbia Center Boulevard that's for lease. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go check it out. I'm like, this is exciting. From there, we ended up leasing this small location. If you guys have been there, it's just a little small double-sided drive-through. But I knew, hey, this is a great opportunity. Again, just like the Walla Walla location, it was cheap rent, and it came with equipment too. So we opened up that store in Kennewick in November 2011. Again, very difficult. What happened is we opened up thinking, man, it's on Columbia Center Boulevard again, man, we're gonna have all these customers. Oh my goodness. It was probably the worst opening we've ever had. You know, I got really scared at the time because you spend all this time, all this effort, all this money, and you're still not making any. I remember having to be there at 5 in the morning. I'd walk up Columbia Center Boulevard and I'd put the drinks for $1 signs all the way up Columbia Center Boulevard, just trying to get people in. And then they would come in and then we'd serve them coffee out of that really bad machine, and it'd be like wasting all of our advertising money and all of our time because the product that we were serving wasn't that good anyways. So that was definitely a struggle. So that took multiple years actually to get Kennewick to where it is today, which is fantastic. So those 3 stores began to slowly grow. The coffee roasting began to slowly add quality to our product, slowly add a high level of love to what we were doing. I began to get more and more involved with the industry, not just locally, but nationally in Seattle, in Portland, and in LA. Begin to really network with the big dogs in coffee, and begin to really learn not just about a good product, but about entrepreneurship, about business building, about really taking care of the customer. All of those things begin to really start clicking.